Former President George H.W. Bush's service dog grabbed the hearts of many when the president was laid to rest. And this picture went viral of Sully lying down in front of the casket saying a final goodbye. Well, now Sully is returning to Long Island at America's Vet Dogs in Smithtown, New York. So let's take a look right now to see what's going on with the event.
He and the entire family and his entire team were first class in every way and worked very hard with us to make sure that Sully, number one, served the president as best he could, but also that we're able to utilize this opportunity to shine a light on services that are available for all veterans. And so we have a pretty robust program for you. We'll be bringing Sully in a moment or two. But first I wanted to introduce some of our other guests of honor that are here who will be speaking after we bring Sully in. We're joined by County Executive Steve Bellone, Congressman, yes, let's give him a round of applause. Congressman Lee Zeldin, Assemblyman Fitzpatrick, who actually, let's give him a round of applause. I was going to tell you a quick story about this. He actually emailed me from Ireland that he saw Sully's picture when that picture broke out. Town Clerk of Smithtown, Vinnie Paleo. HIA Board Chair, Joe Campolo. Head of Veteran Services for Suffolk County, Tom Ronayne. The two leaders of a fundraising group, a local grassroots fundraising group that works with us, who actually raised enough money to sponsor Sully, the Friends of America's Vet Dogs, Cliff and Patricia. And it's now my pleasure to bring up our board chair, Mr. Don D., to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Good morning, everyone. Please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. While you're still standing, I just ask if we could share a moment of silence for former President Bush. Thank you. Please be seated. Since 1946, 5 community leaders got together from New York and decided that it was important to do something that was bigger than themselves. So they helped to form a mission to serve those, to improve the quality of life for those who are blind and visually impaired and those with special needs. Then in 2004, we expanded that to include veterans and those who have served our country honorably. So today, we're very fortunate in another milestone, 72 years later, to be able to take this opportunity to both reflect on all the hard work that has been done, but more importantly, to look ahead in the future for the next chapter for Sully. So today I'd like to say thank you to all of you, but I want to have a special few words of thanks for the folks who have made it possible. First of all, our staff, both our past and those that are current. Those that are current here are represented by the executive team. But I don't know if all of you realize, and those of you who have ever had puppies or have served as puppy raisers, you probably have an appreciation that it takes quite a bit. It's like it is truly raising a son or a daughter. And when you go through that, it does take a village. So I'm going to bear with me for a second, but when you think about all the different groups in our organization that go into helping to raise a puppy from breeding all the way to servicing that puppy and that consumer for life. We have folks from consumer services, development, finance, data administration, HR, marketing, our prison puppy program, our field staff, our training staff, our breeding staff, our whelping staff, our veterinarians, our nurseries, our canine care group, our cooking staff, our housekeeping staff, and our maintenance staff. They all go in, it truly is a village, to help bring together our puppies to serve. We also want to thank our volunteers. Over 1,600 volunteers nationally, as well as here locally. They contribute over probably 3 million plus hours a year of volunteer time. It's a lot. It's a lot of caring. It's a lot of people who are thinking bigger than themselves. I really want to call out one that has always struck me as a good example of just what it means to volunteer and why it matters. There's a young fellow back in 2016 named Matthew Redlin. Probably you all know very well, because he is from St. James in Suffolk County. Matthew was partially blind and had a brother who was blind as well. And he decided that it was important to really help veterans to help make things better with them through a dog. So he started a campaign locally in his high school selling lollipops and bracelets. And over that course in that year, maybe a year plus, raised over $60,000. This was a 13-year-old back then. So people can make a difference wherever you are in your life, whether you're young, old, or in between. I'll let you guys guess where I am. So I also want to thank our puppy raisers, those who have just spent countless time and hours just putting the formative life around what puppies do, because it's their opportunity. That 12 to 18 months is when that formative period takes place. It's when their personality is formed, it's when their skills are honed, it's when they become social, they know how to deal with people and things and life situations. Our puppy raisers make a heck of a difference. But also not to forget our prison puppy program, as well as our raisers that support them. We have, I don't know, 13 or 14 prisons across the country that help us raise our service dogs. Our donors and supporters, I mean, without those people who have just been so tireless in terms of the impact that they're making, particularly the Friends of America's Vet Dogs. I just shared a story about how they got started, and they have raised over 15 puppies now? 15 puppies over the last 5 years in terms of with their sponsorship and the money they've raised. So, and I want to say that we've been very fortunate. While it's been growing, we've been averaging nearly 20,000 new donors every year. And that's something across the country that through your generosity and through the visibility that our marketing group has helped us in terms of its work, we've been very fortunate to reach out. So I also want to thank our board, 25 strong today, and some of the past board members who have really been particularly helpful to me. Heidi Vanderwinkle, who was actually here in 1989, who helped on the search committee to hire our CEO at that time. Celeste Lopez, Glenn Tecker, Jim Bingham, Bob Stratford, Alphonse Brown, Lucas Matheson, and Gretchen Evans. Many of these are here locally, but some of these are also nationally. We're very blessed to have a very powerful heart of board members that care about what we do, and they also happen to have incredible talent and expertise. You know, it goes without saying that we've been very fortunate as an organization. Not every nonprofit has that opportunity to have a leader serve in the organization for over 29 years. And that leader was Wells Jones, who retired earlier this year. It is fair to say that the face of this organization, as well as the fabric of this organization, was really built with Wells and all the people who have served here as employees. And we've been very, very blessed to go through a search process this year and to find Wells' replacement in John Miller. And I got to tell you, it's been an incredible journey with Ride with John over the last 5 or 6 months. And he's done so much in terms of bringing leadership and experience, and more importantly, really bringing humanity to what we do and understanding what we do. So you all are here. You all help to make a difference. I would tell you the first time that I came onto a board meeting, I tried to look back in terms of some of the history. And for those of you who, as I look out, some of you might remember, there was a PSA that was done by a fellow named Milton Berle. I don't know if everybody remember Milton, but he was an incredible comedian. But one of the things that he used to talk about was about guide dogs. He used to refer to them as second sight guide dogs. Second sight. That was something that was important, and that's how one of the pieces that kind of go into the fabric of our culture. So you all help to make an incredible difference in the lives of our consumers, and you all help to make the shoulders of everybody here that much stronger. So thank you all very much.
Thank you, Don. I'd also just like to recognize a couple of members of the staff who are here. We have our Chief Program Officer in charge of all the dog training, Brad Hibbard. And I'd just like to get all the staff members in the back, particularly Andrew Rubenstein, Allison Stork, who put today's event together and is managing all the media, and our entire development team and staff that is out there. We also were joined by one of our newer board members, just elected secretary to the board, Leslie Tang. So hi, Leslie. Thank you for coming out. So, just real quickly, when you look at our organizations, we run 2 organizations, from this campus that are both national and international in scope. But Long Island, there's no question about it, is our home. And, the majority of the staff who work for us are here on Long Island. The majority of the volunteers who volunteer for us are on Long Island, and we're very proud to call, Long Island home. And we're very proud, that Sully was born and trained, right here on Long Island. The Vet Dogs program is about 15 years old at this point, and we serve veterans from all eras, no matter where they served or when they served, whether it's from World War, like President Bush, or another World War II vet that lives in Smithtown here, who just got his, I believe it was his 10th dog from us through the course of his lifetime. And then, of course, through the local conflict, or the more recent conflicts, from Iraq and Afghanistan. We've also provided combat operational stress control dogs as part of the Army's behavioral health initiative. And we've had 12 of those dogs deployed between Iraq, Afghanistan, and Kosovo. And in June 2018, given our relationship and work that we do at Walter Reed Medical Facility in Bethesda, President 43, George Bush 43, reached out to them to inquire about whether or not a service dog would be an option for President Bush after former First Lady Barbara Bush passed away. And we're very grateful that Walter Reed recommended our organization to do that. Sully, as we talked about, was sponsored by the Friends of America's Vet Dogs, named after the pilot who landed in the Hudson River. That's probably one of the top 3 questions that we get, was Sully named after him? And he was. And Cliff will tell you the story about that in a minute. But one of the things that's easy, to get lost, in the moment, and everybody saw that picture that went viral that, just gave us all chills, down our spine when it was released, of Sully laying in front of, President Bush's casket, and that was the first photo of the casket that was made public. We all felt such a tremendous, sense of pride in not only having worked with the president, but all the different veterans and veterans groups that we work with, right here on Long Island and across the country. So it was a great point of organizational pride. And we're also very proud, of the way we manage the organization. In the last 6 months alone, we've had 2 ratings increases from, the charity watchdogs, in particular GuideStar. We went from silver to gold status, and now from gold status to platinum, which is their highest rating. And then just last week, Forbes magazine named us as one of the top 12 charities in America for people to donate at their year-end giving between now and at the end of this year. So thank you to those rating agencies, and thank yous to Forbes magazine as well. All right, enough about us. I know there's a lot of anticipation. And I would ask everybody, to help me bring back to Long Island, big build up here. We're very proud and very honored to have Valerie Kramer, Service Dog Program Manager, and Sully, the Service Dog.
Down. Good boy. Morning, everyone.
Good morning. Good morning.
Turn around. Certainly.
Thank you, Sully. Everyone likes Steve.
Stay. Stay. I'm Valerie Kramer, the Service Dog Program Manager at America's Vet Dogs, and I'd like to share with you a little of Sully's story and how he came to be President Bush's service dog. For many years, we have worked closely with the staff at Walter Reed National Military Medical Center, building our relationship and gaining a reputation for training excellent service dogs for veterans with disabilities. We have also provided dogs for Walter Reed's facility dog program. Currently, we have dogs Sergeant Dillon and Sergeant Truman in the program. President Bush's office learned of our reputation and reached out to us to inquire about a service dog for the president. I was the one who took the call in April of 2018. I immediately knew I had the perfect dog for President Bush. In fact, in my excitement, I may have even mentioned Sully's name. Sully had the right personality and temperament for the important job. He is loyal, calm, kind with children, exactly what the President's team asked for. In addition, he's a willing worker, he's smart, and he's adaptable to all environments. Like all our service dogs, Sully got his start in our prison program. Inmates raised the puppies, teaching them the fundamental skills of service dog work. Sully was raised at the MCTC Hagerstown, one of the prisons of the Maryland Department of Public Safety and Correctional Services. The program gives inmates an opportunity to give back to society. After about a year, the inmates and the volunteer weekend puppy raisers who take the puppies on the weekend to give them experiences and exposures they can't get into prison, the dogs return to us. From there, our instructors fine-tune the skills the dogs have learned and teach them the advanced skills they need as we customize each dog for the individual's disabilities. The tasks each dog is taught, and Sully will demonstrate a few a little later, are retrieving items, tugging, and pushing a target. Among other tasks, we can also train our dogs to do nightmare interruption, push a button to summon assistance, and retrieve medication. We also teach the dogs how to push a door plate to open automatic doors. Sully and I have a long relationship ourselves. I was his trainer when he graduated from the prison program. I'm the main liaison with the staff at Walter Reed. Sully even took a trip to Bethesda with me, and we worked with a few wounded warriors prior to his move to Maine. As the time grew closer to placing Sully with President Bush in Kennebunkport, I knew Sully's advanced training was complete, and Sully was ready to meet the President. From the first moment when the President said, "Welcome home," I knew it was an absolutely perfect match. As our training drew to an end, I watched President and Sully surrounded by family near the beach, watching his guests jumping off the dock into the sea and enjoying the day. It's a picture that will always remain in my mind. It was then that I was sure it was time for me to leave Sully to do his job. When President Bush passed away, it was his wish that Sully serve other veterans. We are coordinating with Walter Reed for Sully to join the facility dog program to provide animal-assisted intervention, and that will happen probably sometime in February 2019. In his new role, Sully will visit injured veterans, helping to provide comfort during rehabilitation center sessions, or visiting with families during what can be an emotional and very difficult time. He will be fulfilling President Bush's requests. It was an honor to work alongside the President and his staff so they could learn to work together as a team, and I am honored that Sully will continue his important work with veterans and their recovery. Thank you. Sully and I are now going to demonstrate a few tasks for you.
You guys, I'm going to ask you to slide over this way.
Sully.
We're going to go back with the
Leash.
microphone. We're going to need to get over there, guys. Sorry, guys.
So we do directed retrieves for a lot of our applicants. For PTSD applicants, we teach some skills that help them to integrate with the public a little, and Sully is going to show you the shake command. So let's sit. And we also teach the dogs to hit a button with the command "get help," and that would summon assistance for the veteran. So, yeah. Sully, get help. Sully's a little stage struck.
Can you do that one more
Good job,
time, just the
Sully.
bell? Can you do the bell one more time? Hold on one second.
I can see, but Sully, yep.
Thank you.
Sully, get help. Good boy.
Thank you.
Machines. Good job. That's all.
All right, so as you can see, you know, Sully is doing well here on Long Island. Will continue to be doing well as we move forward, and we're looking at a February timeframe for potentially working with the Walter Reed Medical Center. We're also very lucky to have with us here today one of our graduates who also went through the service dog curriculum. And it's my honor to introduce Tyler McGibbon. In 2014, Tyler was involved in a Humvee accident in Kuwait that resulted in severe traumatic brain injury. Tyler spent years at Walter Reed National Military Medical Center, and he came here to train with his service dog Trooper in 2007. And by all accounts, they've been a great pair. So please join me in welcoming Tyler and Trooper.
Yo. Wait a minute. Yes, good boy. Sit. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
All right, good boy. Yes. Down. No. Trooper. Down. No. Yes, good boy. There you go. Yes, stay.
Hello everyone. Thank you for coming out today. My name is Tyler McGibbon. I am forever an American Vet Dog's debt. They were able to introduce me to my best friend and my service dog, Trooper. Trooper helps me with multiple tasks in my daily life. These tasks would be difficult without him. I can have peace and normalcy brought back into my life. When I'm at music therapy, he will be right by my side, laying down and just listening. Hey, leave it. When I'm out and about, he will help me with my mobility and keep me upright with his handle on my bad days. He will even retrieve items for me when my back is hurting so bad that I can't bend down. Just the presence of him makes me feel calm and at ease. Hey, good boy, stay. No, stay. I had a very hard time transitioning out of the military to civilian life. When I found out I was getting placed with a service dog, all I could care about was getting medically retired and meeting my new best friend. I couldn't sleep the day before I came here to meet him. When I finally met him, I knew my life would change forever. I would like to say thank you to American Vet Dogs for being there for me. Well, for being there for us and bringing normalcy back into our lives. I would also like to thank every one of you that have donated to American Vet Dogs, because without you and organizations like this, it would not be able to survive.
Good boy. Walk.
Thank you, Tyler. Thank you. It's now my pleasure to introduce what I refer to as a hyper-local Long Island group here that help raise enough money to sponsor Sully. They work, $10, $20, $30, at a time, knocking on their neighbors' doors and hosting events. And it's really the lifeblood of our organization. Without donors like that, it's very hard for us, to do the services we do. And as I discussed earlier, with an approximate $50,000 price point to breed, train, and place one team, we need a lot of $10 and $20 donations to make that happen on a yearly basis. So please welcome to the podium Mr. Cliff Miller and Patricia Summers of Friends of America's Vet Dogs.
Wow, it's an honor to be here. I just want to tell you a few quick things about our group, Friends of America's Vet Dogs. We started to group together in late 2014, and we held our first fundraiser in early 2015. We're all volunteers. There's only about 22 of us, and the sole purpose for our existence is to help America's vet dogs get a veteran a service dog as it's needed. As I said, there's only 22 of us, and I repeat that because a relatively small group of senior citizens, not young kids, were able to, in less than 4 years, sponsor 15 service dogs for veterans. So we're, my point with that is if just 22 of us can do that, anyone out there interested can get together and make miracles happen and give a vet their life back. We are based in the greater Sayville area, but our members come from all over Islip Town, Brookhaven Town, and we even have 2 members in New Jersey that come out to help us. Our main purpose is not only fundraising, which is critical, but awareness, because everywhere I go, I wear the pin and engage people in explaining the incredible purpose of America's Vet Dogs. We consider, as a group, we consider it an honor and a privilege to be able to name each dog that we sponsor. And what we do, we take that extremely seriously. We take suggestions and we vote on it, but we use that opportunity to name each dog to honor somebody that was an unsung hero of the military, someone who brought great honor to the military, or someone who significantly assisted a veteran. As an example, Sully, we named for Captain Chesley Sullenberger, the U.S. Airways pilot who did the miracle on the Hudson, but not because he landed the plane safely and saved all those people. We named Sully in honor of him because he learned his flying skills in the United States Air Force. So we're honoring him by naming the dog Sully because of his military skills that pulled off the miracle on the Hudson. And hopefully this, through, especially with the unsung heroes of the past, as people encounter the service dogs that we've named and honored somebody, they'll ask, why did you name your dog Ballard or Weber or whatever? And that will continue the legacy of the person who we honored. And I don't consider, and I don't think anybody in our group considers these service dogs really, as far as we're concerned, they're angels on 4 paws. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Cliff. And as you can see, we really are, local.
And you've been watching President George H.W. Bush's service dog, Sully, who is now back home on Long Island. And per the president's request, Sully will now bring comfort to veterans going through rehabilitation at Walter Reed Medical Center.